another catch-up, the last one of my 2018 catch-ups, before I get into the 2019 one, and that list is long. Holy shit. Bird Box is the pop culture happening.
You like hot dogs, don't you?
Distributed by Netflix, and that film sparked so many ridiculous memes that it legitimately made me interested in seeing the movie. I saw it long after everyone else, and it was on a day where I couldn't find anything new to watch that night, and everything else that I had owned or had streamed before just wasn't sticking out to me as a movie that I definitely needed to watch right then and there. And I wasn't in the mood to watch a TV show, so I just said fuck it, and I turned on Bird Box, and I watched it, made the script, and then I didn't actually come out to making a video until now. It's been over a year, and I hate that I do this to myself. So here's another video that isn't talking about a more popular in the moment film, and honestly wasn't taken very seriously or seen as important shortly after it premiered, other than in the meme space. So let's see how this video script holds up, and after I finally get around to the synopsis and the disclaimer. So for those of you who have forgotten what this movie is about, Bird Box follows a pregnant girl named Mallory, played by Sandra Bullock, and during the film, the world is being plagued by these strange creatures that cause people to commit suicide when they gaze upon them, and the film takes place in two time periods, one where the epidemic is just starting, and 5 years into the future when Mallory is attempting to flee to a safe haven with two children. Now, before I get into my thoughts on the film, I want to first remind you guys to hit that like button, and also to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Especially that last one, please subscribe. Tell me how good I'm doing at being very awkward and, you know, just being not good at improv. And a short disclaimer for those of you who are new here, I use a pro and con setup for all my reviews, so that's how I'll go about it. I usually don't keep the sections separate, but sometimes I do, and I don't know, it's kind of back and forth. But we shall see how it works out when the overall product emerges as we go through this together. Now, let's get into my extremely long in the process review of Bird Box. So I literally thought it'd be funny to just read through this because I tweaked it a little bit, just with some of the wording, because it was a bad script, guys. It was a really bad one. But I will actually mention, I will actually read along, because some of these are, they're so short, I hate it, and they're not even detailed. So, Sandra Bullock gives another outstanding performance. Even if the film is very awful, or pretty awful, I wrote, she always finds a way to drive home a performance. That's the entire point that I made. I didn't say anything else. That's how basic I was back then. I'm probably still basic to a point, but I'm trying. Every other actor, from B.D. Wong to John Malkovich to Trevante Rhodes, does a good job acting, but their characters are not given much to do, and or just given one-dimensional characters that fit into standard cliches for post-apocalyptic films. Again, very basic point, got it all out, that's how basic I was. The direction by Suzanne Bier, it's spelled B-I-E-R, was pretty good and showed just that she is at least competent behind the camera and did bring out average but good performances out of her actors, and the cinematography wasn't half bad, especially in the more present-day sequences, the 5 years after the start of the post-apocalyptic landscape. And then, like I said, that's pretty much it. And then I think I was trying to be clever with this one, but we'll see how I do. Now, I'm not suggesting that the film was made to feel exactly like A Quiet Place, but focusing on sight instead of hearing, and that's mainly because the filming of both films were almost concurrent, so I don't think it's based on that logic, but that being said, there are a lot of aspects that are very similar to Quiet Place, especially in the technical aspects that are focused on during post-production, like the score. The score felt eerily similar to that of A Quiet Place. I don't know why I didn't put that as a separate thing with the score. I could have done that, but honestly, it's like this, and I'm just gonna keep it as is. And even then, wait. Oh, never mind. Okay, I thought it was saying score. I was like, wait, did I just perjure myself or something? And even then, whether the original source material was inspired or not by this other film, the biggest comparison is to that of the arguably the worst movie ever made, M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
Planning on stealing something?
No, ma'am, we're not.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No.
And this feels like a blatant ripoff, especially considering that that film also tackled random mass suicides by an unseen force, only this time giving a true creature or monster as the cause, instead of plants.
Hello? My name is Elliot Moore. I'm just going to talk in a very positive manner. We're just here to use the bathroom. I hope that's okay.
But that being said, though, this film tackles those ideas much better than The Happening ever could, so that's something. But even that statement isn't much praise. Because of the jumping back and forth between the time periods, it left the film feeling disjointed and made it extremely difficult to connect with characters, especially since you could tell throughout whether it was because of who was present in the present-day situations or who they were as characters. You could just tell who was going to die or who was just going to run off. And if they had just made each character interesting and maybe didn't put them into cliche cliche categories. Sorry. I had a brain fart, even though I was reading it. And character tropes. Maybe we would have cared, or at least been more interested in seeing what exactly happens to end their time on the screen. But, you know, doesn't happen. I'm okay with films that end and leave the audience questioning certain aspects, as long as you make us feel invested in the story and the characters to where we are okay with not having some questions answered. I mean, ambiguity is important for some stories to make it more interesting. Oh, the part where I improv, I basically said exactly what I was saying, because then it can open up discussion between casual film fans, or casual moviegoers and film fans alike, and people can debate what certain things mean and have fun with it. Yeah, that's pretty much the same, but I said it in less words this time, yay. Only, I didn't. I said both of them, which ended up wasting your guys' time, I'm sorry. But this film does neither and just sort of ends without giving the audience adequate closure. Why couldn't I have said this in less words? I would have actually been fine with that. Also, looking back, normally I get scared during movies with horror elements. That's still true to this day. And while there are some good scares, mostly I found the film laughable in the attempts, in the majority of its attempts at horror, as well as much of the dialogue that was written. In the end, while Bird Box is not a good movie, it's a good pick for a night of drinking with friends, getting a good time out of a shared laugh. Sure, it had good moments, but other than the memes that were created at its expense, I doubt that anybody remembered this film. I'm surprised that I remembered, even with, even with just having it written down on a list that I have in my documents tab. You know, I'm not going to remember this after a while. I'll look back through my videos every once in a while, and then I'll see it, and I'll just be like, maybe I'll remember them. But anyway, once again, the only reason I remembered this film was because I already had the script ready, which I just read to you, and it's, I'm kind of cringing at how basic it was. At the same time, you could tell that I didn't care about the movie, but I should also... it just reminds me that I'm still getting better at how I structure everything, as well as how much attention and passion that I put into things, even if I don't necessarily enjoy the product itself. But anyway, this is just the last in a portion of the catch-up list that will haunt me until it's complete, and I'm happy that I'm done with that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video for what it was. And once again, don't forget to hit that like button, and also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, farewell until the next video, all of you casual moviegoers and movie fans alike, and keep on being awesome.